Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm gonna use one of my old pants to create a crop top. Hope you like it. Draw a line right above the crotch line. Next, measure the sides. This is just to make sure that both sides are symmetrical. And when it's ready, you can cut it out. There's this pocket on the inner side, which you can trim it off, or you can just leave it as it is. But I'm going to trim it off. Make sure you don't trim it too much, just a little, like what I did, or else you'll be creating a hole. Take the bottom part of the pants and we're going to make sleeve out of it. Draw a slightly curved line at the top here. And cut it out. You can measure the length of your sleeve. And mine is 61 cm. So I'm going to place this sleeve on the other side just so I can trace it over. I'm going to measure my elastic straps. So it's 1 cm and thus I'm going to create a 1.5 cm seam allowance. So I'm going to fold it twice like this and stitch it in place together with the elastics. But first, let's measure my armhole measurements. My measurements is 40 cm. And I'm going to cut a pair of 40 cm long elastics. Next, overlap it a little bit like this and stitch it in place. So place the elastics right at the seam and stitch it in place just so it doesn't move around. This is how it should look like. So next we're going to fold it twice and stitch it on. Make sure you're not stitching on the elastics or else you won't be able to stretch it out later. So as you're stitching, you still need to stretch out a little bit and continue stitching. This can be quite a challenge if this is your first time stitching elastics. But as you keep stitching it on, you will get used to it and you will know the techniques, the right techniques of doing it. So do the same to the other side of the sleeve. So I'm stretching it out so that it's equally gathered. Now moving on to the cuff. I'm going to measure my wrist. And cut out the elastics. I added 2 cm seam allowance for this because I do not want it to be too tight at the wrist. I'm gonna just take it and stitch it one round. That's it. Not confusing for this one. It's pretty easy. But if you have a black elastic for this, it should be better because this is going to be visible. I don't have one, and so I'm going to just use white. And that's how it should be. So do the same to the other side. Next off, you can lay the sleeves on your table. And that's the body. Find the side seams and attach them together. Secure it with a pin first, and we will be stitching them down. So that's about 5 cm that we're going to stitch. And you can try them on. Oh, they're kind of loose, so which means you gotta stitch in a little bit more so that they hold tight and better. Remember, I did 5 cm, so now I'm gonna stitch 7 cm. And that's it. That's after stitching in 7 cm. That looks better. So next off is the bottom. You can just leave it as it is, but I'm going to stitch it in as well. I'm going to draw 1.5 cm seam allowance. I'm going to do exactly what I did to the armhole earlier. Measure your waist, and my measurements is 67 cm. So we're going to cut elastics. I'm going to add 2 cm seam allowance, so that will be 69 cm. Just cut it out. Do the same, overlap a little bit and stitch it. It's basically the same step that we did for the armhole. And once we're done with this, that's it. Our top is ready. So you remember we fold it twice. Yeah, we're gonna do that again. And remember not to stitch on the elastics. Ta-da! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and also leave me some comments and feedbacks on how you like the video. See you next week!